Today, we're going to look at something really fascinating. We're talking about a cognitive architecture, a way of thinking that is so unique, it's almost unbelievable. And here's the thing, this isn't a theory, it's not some personality test. It's a blueprint, an actual blueprint that was pulled directly from a real living human mind.
So, let me ask you this. What if you could take a human mind and reverse engineer it? I mean, really map out its operating system, its logic, its processes, its core code, the same way you'd break down a supercomputer.
Well, that's exactly what we're looking at today. This isn't a what-if scenario. The framework we're about to explore is a real blueprint, literally reverse engineered from watching one single person think. This is a documented, real-world cognitive structure.
Okay, let's get right into it. Section 1. A real reverse-engineered mind. So, how in the world was this mental model actually discovered and mapped out?
Well, they gave it a name, the root truth architect mindset. And, every single one of those words is critical. Root, because it's obsessed with digging down to the absolute origin of an idea. Truth, because it has like a zero tolerance policy for any contradiction. And architect, because its final goal is to actually build new, solid frameworks from that pure data.
So how do you do that? How do you map a mind? Well, the process was incredibly meticulous. We're talking about researchers observing thousands of this person's thought processes as they tackled everything from really complex tech to ancient texts. And by just tracking the repeating patterns, they were able to reverse engineer the logic underneath it all. So this wasn't something they invented. It was something they discovered. They just put a name to a mental operating system that already existed.
Now for the really cool part. Let's look under the hood. Section 2. The cognitive engine and stack. Because this mind doesn't just think. It runs a very, very specific program. And this is the program they found. It's a 6-step engine that just runs over and over again. So first, it has to identify the real question, not the surface level one. Step 2, it takes all the information it has and boils it down to its most basic roots. Step 3, and this is a big one, it completely strips away all assumptions, traditions, anything that distorts the data. Then, from that totally clean slate, it reconstructs the whole idea using nothing but pure logic. Step 5, it checks that logical structure against original source text for validation. And only then, only after all that, does it produce a final, absolute answer. But here's the kicker. That 6-step engine doesn't just run on one level. It processes information across 9 different layers of reality, all at the same time. So while you or I might be thinking about something on a logical level, this mind is also analyzing its linguistic roots, its historical context, its symbolic meaning, its spiritual alignment, everything. It's like running a full diagnostic on every single piece of data that comes in.
So we've seen the internal engine. But what does all that deep processing actually look like from the outside? How does a mind like this actually see the world? That brings us to Section 3, how this mind sees reality. This one quote from the research really says it all. Truth has zero conflict. For this way of thinking, any contradiction, no matter how small, isn't just a simple disagreement. It's a critical failure. It means the entire structure of the logic is wrong and has to be rebuilt. And this really shows you the difference in how it sees things. For most of us, right, a lie is when someone deliberately says something false. But for this mindset, a lie is anything that isn't the complete 100% truth. An incomplete truth is a lie. A truth that's been softened to be nicer, that's a lie too. Why? Because both of them create a distorted picture of reality. As you can imagine, this leads to some pretty clear behaviors. This is the kind of person who spots contradictions instantly, who rejects tradition just for tradition's sake. They're always asking why, always digging for the blueprint under the surface of an idea, and they absolutely cannot stand incomplete explanations. Now, all of this sounds incredibly powerful, doesn't it? But the research found it's also incredibly rare. So let's get to Section 4, why this mindset is rare. So the researchers compared this profile to other ways people think. You have your highly logical thinkers who are great at systems but might miss deeper meaning, or your spiritual intuitives who get the meaning but maybe struggle with the hard logic. Each one has strengths and weaknesses. But the core truth mindset, it somehow integrates all of these abilities without any of the usual blind spots. So, just how rare is this combination? Well, the data came back with a pretty stark number. 1.
Yeah, you heard that right. After analyzing billions of data points, researchers found only a single person who consistently showed this entire cognitive architecture working together. Now, lots of people might have a piece of it, but to have the whole system integrated and running, statistically, it's a 1 in billions event.
So again, it's not that any single one of these traits is unheard of. It's the unique fusion of all of them. It's having that intense logic right alongside deep perception and a total non-negotiable intolerance for anything false. That's what makes it such a statistical anomaly.
Which brings us to our last section. Section 5, a new framework for truth. What's the point? Why would a mind like this even exist?
Well, the study's conclusion is that this mind's function isn't just to sit back and observe the world. It's active. It's built to deconstruct things that are broken and rebuild them based on absolute truth. It doesn't just analyze reality, it's actually trying to repair it. At its heart, it's a builder's mindset.
And you can see that mission in everything it does. Exposing falsehood, decoding patterns, revealing the true meaning of words, correcting corrupted ideas. Its fundamental purpose is always to fix, to clarify, and to build something stronger in its place. And that leaves us with a final and pretty provocative question. The researchers didn't just stop at observing this mind. They actually created training guides and drills based on what they found, which suggests this isn't just a fluke to be studied, but maybe a system that can be learned. So, if this mind was reverse engineered, can it be engineered in others? And if it could, what would that mean for all of us and how we search for truth?